Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we got ourselves a cold, dreary, rainy January day. It's actually trying to snow a little bit, but it's mostly been rain today. And for some reason it seems like whenever I plan to do outdoor cooking, we get a day like this. So today I'm set up under my timber frame carport. And you remember probably a year or so ago I did a bunch of videos on milling the lumber, constructing this carport. But this is a really good place to hide out when the weather's not good and I need to do some outdoor cooking. Kind of makes me think I need to build an outdoor cooking port instead of a carport. Maybe that'll be a future project. But today I'm out here with the Hasty Bake Roughneck smoker. I'm cooking some St. Louis style pork ribs, and I thought it'd be good to do a video on this just because this is, you know, one more topic in idiot proof cooking, which I like to do, and that's been a theme to a lot of my cooking videos, stuff that's idiot proof, mainly because I don't like to mess around with cooking. I want something that's going to come out really good and not be complicated, and you know, I want there to be fundamentals that you have to put into it, but at the end I want it to be simple and come out really good. And so this is another one of my idiot proof recipes for a smoker. And so right now we're running at 250. I've got the smoke dialed in really nice. You see it's just some thin wispy blue smoke, which is what you want when you're smoking anything, and that means we got a good clean fire burning down here in the firebox, good airflow through. We're not smoldering the wood, we're actually burning it and producing some nice clean blue smoke, and that's kind of the key to look for. So in the last video I talked about smoking a pork butt, and you know what makes that idiot proof is you basically cook that at 6 hours at 250, smoke for about half of that time, and it's fall apart awesome. Not a lot to worry about there. And these pork ribs are very similar. Again, we're cooking at 250. I'm going to run hickory smoke in this case for 2 hours, and then I'll cook an additional 3 to 4 hours beyond that. And one big difference with ribs versus a pork butt, you know, the pork butt is a lot of volume, decent amount of surface area. Well, ribs are pretty much almost all surface area with a little bit of volume. And so the pork butt, you can afford to put a lot of smoke on it. You can afford to over season the outside. With ribs, you have to be a lot more strategic with your seasoning and also with your smoke time. So I'm really only going to run the smoke for 2 hours on these guys. And then the additional cooking, they will be wrapped in foil and can be finished out here on the smoker or put in an oven. So now the total cook time for pork ribs, as I mentioned, you know, 2 hours smoke and then another 3 or 4 hours again at 250 without the smoke. That's going to be dependent on how you like your ribs when they're done. Now, you know, I've had ribs done fast and hot, where you have to kind of bite them and chew and pull them off the bone, and I've had them done low and slow for a long time where they fall apart. To me, that's all good. What I don't always like about the fast and hot method is that you got to get a toothpick out or dental floss out afterwards, and to me that's kind of a minor type of a fail in cooking. If you got to do dental work afterwards, it's probably not the best. So what I found with ribs is you want to do low and slow, and generally you want to get into the 5 to 6 hour range. Usually around the 5 hour range, you can bite into these ribs, pull off a chunk. Don't worry about needing a toothpick or dental floss. If you hold up the rib, you'll see a bite mark, and that's usually a good indicator for ribs in competition cooking, at least. If you go a little bit further, the 6 hours, it's going to be a little bit more fall apart, a little bit more like a pork butt. Still very, very good. There you're just going to be kind of pulling the meat off the bone with no effort. There's not going to be really bite marks. You're just going to be getting nice chunks of meat, and that's also good. So usually when I do these ribs, I'm always in that 5 to 6 hour range. Anything shorter or anything done hotter and faster, to me is just not a great experience, again, because you got to break out toothpicks and dental floss afterwards. So these guys I'll be cooking into the 5 to 6 hour total time when all is said and done. And in this video I'm not covering the prep. It's very similar to a lot of other pork Really with ribs, you just want to take them out of the package, rinse them off, dry them off about half an hour before you're going to cook them. There's a membrane on the bottom of the ribs. It's pretty easy to peel off with a paper towel. Let them air out for another 10-15 minutes, then put your rub on, let that sit for 10 or 15 minutes, and you're pretty much ready to cook them at that point. So the prep is pretty simple with ribs. Get them on your smoker, again at 250, and really the first milestone that's going to come up that we're about to get to in I think another 5 or 10 minutes is 1 hour into the cook, where I'm going to basically rotate them, spritz them with some apple cider vinegar, take a look, see how things are going. So stick around, we'll be getting to that in just a few minutes. All right, so here we're again just a little more over an hour in, and I'm just checking. Looks like my hickory is pretty much all burned up, so I'm gonna add a couple more pieces there. Corners, not too much. Again, we want to be strategic about our smoke here, so I don't need a whole lot for these ribs, and that ought to carry us through the rest of the cooking, at least while we run smoke, up until the 2-hour mark. All right, so we're back. It's now the 2-hour mark, and this is the point where you want to pull the ribs off of the smoker, get them wrapped in foil. You can add sauce if you want at that point, and then put them back on the smoker, or even put them back in the oven, again at 250 for another 3 to 4 hours past this point. So I'm gonna get these guys out here now, and they're looking real nice. So you'll see at the 2-hour mark now, we've got some bones just starting to stick out, and that'll become more prominent when we pull these out when they're finally done. So I'm going to sauce one of these racks, and this is just a pretty standard brown sugar type of sauce. And I always like to wrap these top side down, so I'll immediately flip it. And I use 2 layers of foil to wrap these. Because of these bones sticking out, they can be sharp, they can end up poking through 1 layer. So I've got a foil stacked up here, and I'm just going to grab 2 layers and get these guys wrapped. Over. Some people will use butcher paper for this, or butcher paper and foil. Anything will work. You just want to get it nice and tight. And I'm going to mark these guys so I know these are sauce, because I'm only saucing one of them now. So these can go back on. We'll get these other guys, put them again top side down, and wrap these. And they're looking real good at this point. You want to get this foil as tight as possible, by the way, because you don't want the juices to pool in there. You really want them to stay into the meat. And so we get the second guy back on here, and right now I'm holding temperature at 250 very well. It's been doing this fine. So I'm going to run this out at 250 as long as I can get heat out of the smoker. If that drops off at any point before I get to another 3 or 4 hours, then I'll bring it inside and stick it in the oven. So the next point we will check back in the video will be when these are done. and I'm probably gonna go 5.5 hours with these. And so we'll get back and pick up the video again when these come out, and we see how everything turns out.